My name is Michaela McNamara. I'm a senior sport management major here at Endicott. In the future, I hope to work in an athletic department for a preparatory school or a small college. A fun fact about me is that I'm on the women's ice hockey team here at Endicott.
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Germain and I am a senior sport management major. I grew up in Guilford, Connecticut and have future aspirations to work in a marketing department, preferably in the professional sports world. A fun fact about me is that I love to snowboard and I have recently been getting into water skiing as well.
Hello, I'm Austin Sforza. I'm a junior here at Endicott College pursuing my degree in sports management. In the future, I hope to see myself as a director of football operations for a college.
With a show of hands, how many of you have participated in any kind of meeting? Great! Did you know that there were different types of meetings? And have you ever been a part of a meeting that you felt wasn't productive?
This webinar is designed to go over the important aspects of facilitating meetings. In this webinar, you will learn when to use certain types of meeting styles, understand the importance of virtual meetings, and learn the 6 important tips for facilitating a productive meeting. Patrick Lencioni introduces the types of meetings model from his book, Death by Meeting. These types are daily check-in meetings, weekly tactical meetings, monthly strategic meetings, and quarterly offsite reviews. The first meeting type from Death by Meeting by Patrick Lencioni is the daily check-in meeting. Daily check-in meetings typically last from 5 to 10 minutes. The purpose of these meetings is to share daily activities at work. These meetings should keep team members aligned and on task with weekly assignments. Daily check-in meetings should be brief meetings that take place a few days a week to check in with one another about different tasks and activities that are currently happening in the company. According to Death by Meeting, there are several ways that daily check-in meetings can benefit a team. The first benefit is that it drastically reduces the lifespan of problems. Because people check in a few times a week, this ensures that issues within the team do not go undetected for more than a day. Another benefit is that it promotes cohesiveness. Frequent interaction between team members forms a strong professional relationship. Daily check-in meetings are extremely important to a business, so it is key that bosses recognize this and enforce them. Some examples of daily check-in meetings would be meeting with your professor about pre-registration, meeting with your internship advisor about tasks you have to complete for the day, or meeting with a coach to talk about skills you can improve on. Weekly tactical meetings are what most businesses call staff meetings. These meetings should be around 1 hour long. The purpose of these meetings is to focus on tactical issues within the business. Teams should discuss and resolve issues that affect near-term objectives. For these meetings, it is best if there is no specific agenda. This way, the team can quickly review each other's priorities and then decide what issues need to be discussed for the meeting. Having this discussion will help teams avoid wasting time on smaller issues and will help teams focus on more relevant issues. In these meetings, it is important that facilitators identify important strategic issues to discuss. These meetings are beneficial because it is a way to attack issues head-on as a team. These meetings help identify problems that need to be solved so the team can be successful. Some examples of weekly tactical meetings include department meetings at work and meeting with classmates about presentations. Monthly strategic meetings are the most important indicator of a company's strategic aptitude. These meetings should last between 2 and 4 hours and should be held once a month. In this meeting, teams should discuss big topics that will have a long-lasting impact on the team. Only 1 or 2 big topics should be introduced at each meeting so the team can really focus on finding a solution. Issues that are brought up in this meeting require extensive brainstorming. Also, it is encouraged that participants present ideas and debate on these issues in order to come up with long-term solutions. These meetings are beneficial because it provides a sense of community and collaboration. A monthly strategic meeting gets the entire team involved in the decision-making process and gives everyone an opportunity to contribute to the solution. Examples of a monthly strategic meeting are support groups, honor societies, and LEAD, the leaders of Endicott Athletics. The quarterly offsite review should last roughly 1 to 2 days and should happen each quarter. This is an opportunity to get the team away from the business, both mentally and physically. This meeting is extremely important because it helps reassess a number of issues. These meetings are similar to team building exercises and business retreats. It helps better the interpersonal performance of the team, the company strategy, and performance of employees. These meetings are beneficial because it promotes teamwork and collaboration and is a way for team members to develop personal and team skills that will help them throughout the business. An example of a quarterly offsite review would be a business retreat or team building activity.
Virtual meetings are a technological way to host meetings when participants cannot all be in the same location. This often happens with international companies that have people working all across the world. This type of meeting, while effective, can pose a few challenges due to its uniqueness. There are a few things that you can do in order to lead a more effective virtual meeting. For one, building an effective agenda can alleviate wasted time when time is already a scarce resource. Outlining what will happen before, during, and after a meeting is one way to combat this issue. Participants should also be provided with all necessary resources a few days prior to the actual meeting. Choosing the right medium is also an important aspect when thinking about leading a virtual meeting. Finding the appropriate level of richness, a combination of capacity for feedback, cues used, and personability can identify which technologies need to be used. For example, face-to-face would be considered the most rich, while email would be considered the least rich due to participants' inability to collaborate well. Time zone barriers, especially for international companies, is one of the most common difficulties when trying to conduct virtual meetings. With that being said, realistic time amongst all time zones should be taken into consideration when conducting such meetings. Meeting times should be rotated to ensure that the same members do not have to work unwanted hours when time zones clash. Minimizing tangential discussions can also help create a more focused virtual meeting. There are 3 key practices that help meeting facilitators determine when an intervention is required and what type of interventions should be used. These include observation, diagnosis, and intervention. Observation includes paying close attention to tone of voice and noticing whether or not discussion is aligned with the agenda. Diagnosis involves determining whether an off-topic conversation is more important than the agenda at hand. Finally, intervention involves the leader or management team getting involved based on their observation and diagnosis and handling it utilizing various intervention techniques. Reinforcing shared responsibility involves everyone in the meeting having a shared responsibility when it comes to keeping the meeting on track. To reinforce this, different members should lead various parts of the meeting. Last, balancing tasks and trust can be achieved through communication. For example, if there are participants in the meeting where English is not their native language, a warm-up can be implemented for people to get to know each other and get comfortable with accents. This can help improve overall performance. Minimizing tangential discussions can also help create a more focused virtual meeting. There are 3 key practices that help meeting facilitators determine when an intervention is required and what type of interventions should be used. These include observation, diagnosis, and intervention. Observation includes paying close attention to tone of voice and noticing whether or not discussion is aligned with the agenda. Diagnosis involves determining whether an off-topic conversation is more important than the agenda at hand. Finally, intervention involves the leader or management team getting involved based on their observation and diagnosis and handling it utilizing various intervention techniques.
We're now going to talk about the connection to sport management. The article we chose was Companies Would Be Wise to Begin or Build on Mentoring Efforts by Hannah Gordon and Emily Miller in the Sports Business Journal. The article says, in the 2018 Game Changers Conference and CSM Mentoring Challenge shared tips on how men and women can apply themselves in conferences or meetings. The 4 tips that they shared were create mentoring programs and a mentoring culture, set expectations, mentees, not mini-me's, prepare and question. Create and mentoring programs and a mentoring culture. This talks about creating dialogue with the other employees to further communication skills throughout the office. This is also for people who have been there longer to mentor younger employees in the right direction. Set expectations. This talks about setting expectations for yourself, like goals, objectives, and what points you want to get across in the meetings. Meetings can be a time commitment, but you need to focus on the specifics so it can be more efficient. Mentees, not mini-me's. In the office, we tend to seek a mentor and we need personal help to guide us. This is talking about having a positive impact in the meeting, which will help your company. And lastly, prepare and question. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing your company succeed or have a productive meeting where you can focus and get the task done. Being able to prepare and question will help the meeting go right to the direction than going to the not expecting anything. We are now going to discuss 6 tips for an effective meeting. The 6 tips are: know the purpose of the meeting, improve the meeting environment, hook them from the outset, deliver a unique presentation, shared responsibilities of everyone in the group to keep on task/time, and to provoke conflict. These are 6 tips that you can utilize and help you have an effective meeting. The first tip is to know the purpose of the meeting. Knowing the purpose of the meeting can help you be more prepared for what the meeting can hold. You need to know if the purpose is to solve a problem, brainstorm, or just a simple check-in. It needs to be clear what you are asking from people and what is expected of them. A facilitator needs to clarify what is at stake in the meeting so people will understand what could go wrong if bad decisions were made, and why they care about the process. This is a very important tip to make sure you are engaging with the team and aware of what is happening. The next tip is to improve meeting environment. Creating an environment that supports collaboration, connection, and community that are all critical to an effective meeting. The Deaf by Meeting state, with proper lighting and appropriate temperature, regulated air quality, and ergonomic seating. If this is accomplished, people will be more receptive to able to process what is going on in the meeting versus if they were distracted looking at something around them. The next tip is to hook them from the outset. With this, you have to introduce the issue or the conflict within the first 10 minutes of conversation. The biggest aspect is to make sure you are prioritizing the major topics that need to be talked about, and then explain why it matters and make sure that people are staying engaged on the topic. If this does not occur, the meeting is a waste of time for everyone in it. The next tip we'll be getting into is delivering a unique presentation. A speaker needs to engage the audience and tell stories that people can relate to. Deaf by Meeting says, presentations should promise and deliver value. Many presenters go about their business without delivering a true meaning of their presentation and without letting the audience know what they'll get out of that. This starts with limiting text on screen for the audience. Many people get distracted with PowerPoints, therefore, spend less time actually thinking about what the speaker is saying. Limit the visuals and use PowerPoints as a backdrop instead of a focal point. It is recommended to break your presentations into 3 parts, either Part 1, Part 2, or Part 3, or beginning, middle, and end. These guides the audience and ensures that they do not get bored. Following that, we're going to go into our next tip, which is shared responsibility for everyone in the group to keep on task/time. Everyone in the meeting has a shared responsibility when it comes to keeping on track. To reinforce this, different members should lead various parts of the meeting. Balancing tasks and trust involves communication. By this, you get everyone involved and make sure everyone is staying on focus on the topic. The last tip is to provoke conflict. This means that the facilitator needs to address uncomfortable and challenging issues. This way it is easier to get to the bottom of the important issues. In meetings, people feel uncomfortable and tired at the end. This means that the leaders are probably not switching up the meetings enough to get the best out of it. Conflict should not be personal. It has to be talked about in a group to get things accomplished. Talking about issues and seeking out opposing views of members of the team will help find solutions quicker. For our other connection to sport management, we chose the article Authentic Relationships, Growth and Hallmarks of Mentoring Challenge by Brett McCormick in the Sports Business Journal. CSM Mentoring Challenge program held a conference for women in the sports field who work in different industries to meet the night before the 2019 Game Changer Conference. Companies attend these Game Changer conferences where they are able to be out of the office to help improve their personal skills, communication skills, and company performance.
We hope that through this webinar, you have gained some valuable insight and knowledge that can help you better facilitate meetings. We have gone over when to use specific meeting styles, the importance of virtual meetings, and have provided you with 6 tips to help you facilitate a more productive meeting. Thanks for attending.